how much you were and always will be loved by me. I've told my friends that you were a mail-ordered stepfather, meaning I couldn't have had a better stepfather if I had had the opportunity to choose one. To me, you symbolize strength, stability, caring, unconditional love, and what family should be. I don't think there is anyone who knew you that could say you didn't make a difference in their lives, and to have that ability is a true gift. I am proud to be the mother of 2 great kids, and I owe a good majority of my parenting skills to you. My children were blessed to have you for a grandpa. Sometimes I almost wished you weren't so good. When I would give the kids advice, they'd say, "Wait, let me call Grandpa." We are all better people for having you in our lives. You will always be loved and never forgotten. I'd like to give anyone an opportunity to come up now if they'd like to say a few words. I guess I'm going to stay right here for a minute. I was Mike's younger brother, and also, so I guess that would make me his little brother, and I always looked up to him. Also being the run of the family as far as the boys went, that was literal and figurative. I was, in the past few days, I've just been going over in my mind just different memories I had of Mike in my life. And it was funny, I started thinking about the first memories I had. Of course, they were kind of sibling memories. Of course, Mike, being a big brother, knew what buttons to push. When I was a kid, there had been an eating establishment called Scott's Driving. When I was about 4 years old, we'd be in the car, and my mother would be driving, and Mike knew what button to push. He'd say, "Scott's driving." I'd go, "No, I'm not, Mom's driving, I'm not driving." Oh, typical big brother. He knew what buttons to push. A few years later, he decided to maybe experiment with his kid brother. So we were on a family vacation up in Cape Cod, and he decided, well, let's see if we can put Scott into a hammock, tell me to hang on, and he and my brother Steve, they decided that they would spin the hammock around. Of course, I think I made a quarter revolution, landed on the ground, and had the wind knocked out. So those were the earliest memories, obviously sibling-type things. But then as I got older, he was indeed my big brother. I remember trips to auto shows in New York. I remember him teaching me how to water ski, him trying to teach me how to drive a standard shift automobile. I also remember as I got older, our friendship and brotherhood got closer also. Back in the early 80s, I was in a singing group, and he came and saw one of the shows. And I remember him telling me afterwards what a good job I had done, how proud he was of me, and that he didn't know I could sing. Of course, I quickly chimed in that that was because growing up, every time I started to sing, my siblings told me to shut up. But my adult life, having Mike as my big brother, has been a joy. He has always been kind and gentle, and what a sense of humor. He always made me feel important. He always made me feel like he was proud of who I became as a man. And who I became as a man is partly to do with him. I'm proud to have him as a big brother, and proud to have looked up to him, and proud he was part of my life, because with him in my life, I have become a better man. Someone else would like to come up? My brother Steve.
Well, hopefully I can get through this. I've been known to wail a little bit. Well, Mike was my big brother. We called him Mike. He always wanted to be called Mike because he couldn't spell Michael. But, he he was 2 years my senior, and you know, we really grew up together. Where we grew up was near woods, and we'd go out, you know, on little adventures all over the place, and I pretty much just tagged along with him. Numerous different things. Playing army, playing sports in the neighborhood, whatever we had to do. Used to go ice skating at a quarry. You know, there was a bit of a hike through the woods, and there's another place in a pond that we used to go to. Another interesting thing was I would sometimes follow him through. At that time, there was bread delivery trucks sometimes. And there was one that was parked at the neighbor's house on a fairly regular basis. Apparently, the delivery man was having a little, you know, affair of some sort with the neighbor lady. So we used to enter the back of the truck, pick up a dozen donuts. So before we thought it was perfect. Well. One time when we were, you know, pretty young, we lived about 5 to 10 miles from my grandparents. That was a very suburban area over, you know, pretty well-traveled roads and whatnot. When he was probably 8 to 10 years old, he got on his bicycle and rode to my grandparents' house. Didn't tell anybody. So fortunately, it wasn't until my grandmother called my mother did she realize that he was on this adventure. But that's just kind of the, you know, an indication of his love of traveling and anything with wheels. There was one story he liked to tell when he was quite young. I mean, he was, you know, pretty straightforward and wouldn't really lie, but there was one time he had something, and my mother was intent on finding out what it was, so he had it behind his back, and she insisted on knowing, he wouldn't tell her. So just as Scott mentioned, you know, he did have a way of pushing people's buttons, and I mean, he pushed her button a little bit too far, and she let him have it, and you know, there was pain felt. Unfortunately, it was hers because he was holding a wrench in behind her. Unfortunately, it's kind of a trend I see here. It was button pushing.